In the cold dawn, before the demands of empire or the clamor of the world began, a man sat with pen and parchment, not to record events, but to forge his soul, not for posterity, but for self-mastery. This was Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, and his private meditations became a blueprint for resilience, a testament to the enduring power of the written word. We imagine journaling as a mere chronicle, a diary of daily happenings. But for the Stoics and for Marcus, it was a crucible, a daily intellectual and spiritual exercise designed not merely to observe the self, but to reshape it. To write like Marcus Aurelius is not to mimic his style, but to inherit his purpose, to sculpt one's inner citadel against the relentless onslaught of fortune and folly. The scrolls of meditations were never intended for public consumption. They are the raw, unedited dialogues of a man grappling with himself, striving to align his will with nature, his actions with virtue. This is the fundamental premise of Stoic journaling. It is an act of profound self-communion, a sanctuary built not of stone, but of thought. We write not to express our feelings aimlessly, but to interrogate them, not to catalogue external events, but to dissect our judgments of them. Marcus, burdened by the weight of the Roman world, sought clarity, not catharsis. He recognized that true strength emanates from an ordered mind, a mind that understands its own operations. This solitary practice is where we confront our weaknesses, challenge our assumptions, and reaffirm the principles we wish to live by. It is where we prepare for the world, by first conquering the self. The Stoics' day begins not with the sun, but with a conscious awakening of the self. Before the world impinges, before duties call, the journal becomes a vital tool for setting the mind's compass. This is the practice of premedita te o ma law the premeditation of evils. It is not a morbid dwelling on misfortune, but a strategic reconnaissance of the day ahead. What challenges might arise? What difficult people might I encounter? How will I respond, not impulsively, but with reason and virtue? By mentally rehearsing these potential trials, we strip them of their power to surprise and overwhelm. We fortify our resolve, cultivating an inner tranquility that can withstand the day's inevitable turbulence. Marcus, facing treacherous advisors and ceaseless wars, would mentally prepare for the meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, envious, unsocial individuals he was destined to meet, reminding himself that they too were ignorant of what is good and bad. This forethought transforms us from passive recipients of fate into active agents of our own character. The world bombards us with impressions, sights, sounds, news, opinions. Most people react instinctively, carried along by the currents of external events. The Stoic, however, learns to pause, to dissect each impression before granting it assent. Epictetus's profound insight, the dichotomy of control, forms the bedrock of this practice. Some things are within our control, our opinions, impulses, desires, aversions, and others are not, our bodies, possessions, reputation, public office. Our journaling becomes the laboratory where we meticulously separate these two categories. Is this event truly bad, or is it merely my judgment of it that makes it so? By rigorously examining the source of our distress or elation, we begin to disentangle our inner peace from the capriciousness of the external world. This deliberate act of discernment is the first step towards true freedom. Once an impression is identified, the next Stoic act is the practice of assent. It is not enough to merely observe. We must actively choose how to engage with our perceptions. Do we give our unqualified agreement to the initial, often emotional interpretation, or do we apply reason? Epictetus teaches that it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about things. The journal becomes the arena where we challenge these judgments. We can write, "This event occurred. My initial reaction was X. But is X true? Is it rational? Does it serve me?" By deliberately withholding assent from false or unhelpful impressions, we reclaim our autonomy. We choose to see things as they are, stripped of the emotional overlays that distort our perception. This conscious filtration process is the heart of Stoic cognitive therapy, enabling us to remain undisturbed by what cannot truly harm our character. The Stoics did not advocate for the suppression of emotion, but for its rational management. Passions like anger, grief, fear, and excessive desire were seen as errors of judgment, disturbances to the soul's tranquility. Seneca, in his letters and essays, offers poignant guidance on taming these unruly forces. Journaling becomes a therapeutic dialogue, a chance to trace the roots of our emotional turbulence. When anger flares, we can write, "Why am I angry? Is this person truly malicious or merely mistaken? What is within my control here? What virtue can I apply?" By externalizing these internal conflicts, we gain distance and perspective. We cease to be merely subjects of our emotions and become their examiners, applying the cool logic of Stoic principles to melt away their intensity. This methodical introspection allows us to dismantle the irrational premises upon which destructive passions are built. A hallmark of Stoic thought is the embrace of a broader perspective, the cosmic viewpoint, or summum bonum. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminds himself of the fleeting nature of life, the insignificance of human affairs when viewed against the vastness of time and space. Through journaling, we can consciously pull back from our immediate concerns to gain this liberating detachment. We can reflect on our mortality, practicing memento mori, not as a morbid exercise, but as a spur to live virtuously now. How would I act if this were my last day? What truly matters in the grand scheme? By contemplating the transient nature of all things, the rise and fall of empires, the dust of forgotten lives, we diminish the anxiety over trivialities and sharpen our focus on what is eternally good, our character and our actions. This expansive view fosters gratitude for the present moment and a profound sense of peace regarding our place in the universe. Stoicism is not a philosophy of isolated asceticism. It is deeply concerned with our roles within the human community. The four cardinal virtues, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, are not abstract ideals, but principles for living a life of contribution. Marcus, as emperor, constantly grappled with his duty to the common good. His journal entries often reflect on his interactions, his responsibilities, and how he could better serve humanity. In our own journals, we can explore similar questions. How have my actions today aligned with justice, with fairness towards others? Where have I shown courage or temperance in my desires? How can I be a better member of my family, my community, the wider world? By intentionally examining our social conduct through the lens of virtue, we move beyond mere self-improvement to becoming better citizens of the world, understanding that our well-being is intrinsically linked to the well-being of the whole. Just as the day begins with preparation, it concludes with an audit. Seneca famously described his nightly ritual. When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, aware of this habit of mine, I examine my entire day and go over what I have said and done. This is a time for honest self-assessment, not self-condemnation. Where did I err? What could I have done better? What progress have I made? This systematic review allows us to consolidate lessons learned, to acknowledge our shortcomings without dwelling in self-pity, and to reinforce our commitment to growth. It is a powerful practice for building self-awareness and accountability, ensuring that each day, regardless of its external outcomes, contributes to the ongoing refinement of our character. The journal, then, becomes a record of our philosophical journey, a compass correcting our course for the morrow. Modern journaling often emphasizes emotional release, a stream of consciousness to purge feelings. While catharsis has its place, Stoic journaling adopts a different posture. It is an exercise in rational clarity and precision. Marcus Aurelius did not merely vent, he reasoned. He sought to define, to categorize, to understand the true nature of things. When you write, strive for concise, unambiguous language. Identify the core of an issue, strip away superfluous emotional baggage, and distill it to its essence. This intellectual rigor is crucial. It's about developing the faculty of judgment, not just expressing a transient mood. Ask probing questions, define terms, trace causes and effects. This disciplined approach trains the mind to think more clearly in the heat of the moment, cultivating a sharp, incisive intellect capable of navigating life's complexities with wisdom and composure. The journal is a training ground for the mind, demanding precision over mere expression. Ultimately, the Stoic journal transcends being merely a collection of notes. It transforms into a living mentor, a reflection of your evolving wisdom, a silent, unwavering companion on the path to virtue. Through consistent engagement, your journal becomes a personalized repository of your triumphs and struggles, your insights and your corrections. It is a conversation with your future self, an anchor to your highest principles amidst life's inevitable storms. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations served this very purpose for him. A constant dialogue, a reaffirmation of his philosophical commitments. He referred to these principles as his master. This practice empowers you to become your own guide, to internalize the wisdom of the Stoics not as abstract concepts, but as lived truths. In its pages, you forge not just thoughts, but character, day by day, word by word, until the boundary between the writing and the living truly dissolves. To journal like Marcus Aurelius is not to become an emperor, nor to live a life of monastic isolation. It is to commit to a profound daily practice of self-awareness, rational inquiry, and ethical alignment. It is to harness the power of the written word, not for external validation, but for internal fortitude. The true value lies not in the words themselves, but in the disciplined process of writing them, the act of pausing, reflecting, questioning, and resolving. It is a dialogue with one's higher self, a continuous sculpting of the soul against the rough edges of existence. In a world increasingly fragmented and distracted, the Stoic journal offers a vital anchor, a silent space where you can reclaim your thoughts, cultivate your character, and chart a course towards a life of profound tranquility and purpose. This ancient practice, simple yet potent, remains a timeless path to living a truly examined life, not just enduring its challenges, but transcending them.